Hi guys, and welcome to the first video of this entire series where I will be discussing what is Office 365 and I will be discussing Exchange Online concepts. Now in this particular video, I will be discussing what is Office 365. We will compare an Office 365 environment with an on-premise environment where everything is hosted within the organization. Then we will be discussing why an organization should move to Office 365. Now, before we discuss what Office 365 is, let's consider a typical structure of an organization where everything is hosted within the organization. Now, let's assume that I own a company and the name of the company is Office 365 Concepts. Now, in order to run a company, I need few employees, right? Once I have employees, once I hire employees, I need to generate usernames and passwords for those users so that they can log into the machines. Now, in order to create accounts for those users and to create username and passwords for those accounts, I need to deploy Active Directory. Now, once my users are able to log into their machines, they need access to a mailbox. They need to send and receive emails. They need to create meetings, right? Now, for that, I need an Exchange server. So within the Exchange server, I can create databases, I can host mailboxes, I can provide Outlook or OWA connectivity for my users, and my users can send and receive emails and they can create meetings as well in their calendars. Now, once my users have access to the mailboxes, there can be a scenario where my users can communicate with the external world. They can send or receive emails to the external domains, or they can communicate with the external domains as well, right? Now, in that case, they can be a security threat for my organization. So I will have to deploy a security mechanism like a firewall. Now, I would require an administrator who can manage all my servers, right? And let's say if my organization is growing day by day, so let's assume that I have introduced more servers in my organization, like SharePoint server or Skype server or a SQL server, right? Now, what we can understand with this tech is that in order to deploy an operating system, first we need hardware, right? Once I have hardware, I need an operating system or a software. I have to make sure that my operating systems or machines are up to date. I will have to make sure that my servers are well maintained. I would require air conditioned rooms as well for my servers. I will have to make sure that my equipment, my infrastructure is well secured, right? Now, there can be some scenarios where one of my server goes down. Let's say my domain controller is not responding. So in that case, my users will not be able to authenticate. They will not be able to log into their machines, or they will not be able to use certain application. Or let's assume my Exchange server goes down. My users will not be able to use their mailboxes. They will not be able to send or receive emails. Now that particular period is called downtime. Now, moreover, I will have to make sure that I have sufficient storage space where I can store my users' data or where I can store my organization's data. So I will have to deploy certain storage servers as well. But if we talk about Office 365, things will change in Office 365 because what Office 365 says that I am offering you these many services, though Office 365 offers lots of services and number of services, but for example, I have considered this particular deck. So what Office 365 says that I am offering you these many services. In order to use these services, what you need to do, first, you need an Office 365 tenant. Once you have Office 365 tenant, you need to create your users within that tenant. Now, what Office 365 tenant is, I will be discussing this in next session. But for now, just understand that Office 365 tenant is a console, is a web-based console from where you can manage your entire Office 365 product. You can manage your recipients, you can manage your mailboxes, you can manage your SharePoint Online, OneDrive, or Teams, or Endpoint Manager, and all the products within Office 365. So once you have Office 365 tenant, you need to create users within the tenant. Once you have created the users, you need to purchase certain licenses. Now, you can purchase any license as per your business requirement. If you want to host mailboxes for your users, you can go with Exchange Online Plan 1 or Exchange Online Plan 2 or any other license which is providing mailboxes. Now, once you have purchased the licenses, assign those licenses to your users and let your users use these services according to the license which is assigned to them. Now, this particular model is called cloud-based subscription model. Office 365 is called cloud-based subscription model where you purchase certain subscriptions or licenses, you assign those licenses to your users, and then your users start using these services according to the licenses which are assigned to them. Moreover, Office 365 is also called as software as a service. Software as a service is similar to cloud-based subscription model where you are purchasing some softwares, you are subscribing to certain softwares, and then you are using them, right? Now, when we discussed on-premise environment, we considered few points. Like if everything is hosted within your organization, you are responsible to take care of the entire server, entire infrastructure, right? You will have to make sure that you have enough hardware where you can deploy softwares, where you can deploy applications, or where you can deploy roles like Active Directory or Exchange Server. Once you have deployed operating system, once you have deployed applications, you need to make sure that your operating system and applications are up to date. You need to make sure that you have air conditioned server rooms where you can maintain your servers. Moreover, you have to make sure that your environment, your complete infrastructure is secured. For that, you need to deploy firewall or any other security mechanism which is securing your infrastructure. If in case any server goes down, your users will not be able to use those services which are providing with by that particular server, which is called downtime, right? And you will have to make sure that you have enough storage space where you can store your organization contents, your organization data. But these things will change when you are using Office 365. What Office 365 says, or what Microsoft says, if you are using Office 365, you don't have to worry about the storage of your data. Because once you create a tenant, once you start using Office 365 services, your data will be stored on Microsoft data centers, where your data is highly secured. Moreover, you don't have to worry about air conditioned server rooms because everything will be taken care by Microsoft. You don't have to worry about deploying firewall because your data is secured by Microsoft itself, right? You don't have to deploy hardware, you don't have to deploy software, you don't have to worry about the updates of those operating systems because Office 365 is a web-based application or web-based console. It can be accessed from a single machine. An administrator can access the entire Office 365 tenant from a single laptop or even from a mobile phone as well, right? So Office 365 is a robust productivity solution. Office 365 providing you n number of licenses. You can purchase licenses as per your requirement. You can assign those licenses to your users, and your users can use services according to the licenses assigned to them. Now, let's discuss what we have covered in this particular session. We discussed what is Office 365. We compared an on-premise environment with Office 365. We discussed why an organization should move to Office 365, what all benefits are provided by Office 365, right? And in the next session, we'll be discussing how you can set up an Office 365 tenant. I will be showing you practically how you can purchase new licenses and how you can create users in Office 365 Admin Center. and how you can assign licenses to those users. Now, if you have learned something new from this session, please write in the comments and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for your time. Take care.